Welcome to the special broadcast on DD India. The great Indian election in the year 2024. Democracy's health tested across the globe. On our show today, we take a look at Jharkhand and Odisha as India decides in 2024. Well, Jharkhand is a state of India located in the eastern part of the nation. The meaning of the term Jharkhand is the land of jungles. The state was formed after separating the southern part of Bihar in 2000. It is considered one of the most natural resource rich states, amounting to 40% of India's total mineral health. Ranchi is the capital, while Dhanbad is also called as the coal capital of India, which also is in Jharkhand. Let us understand the dynamics of the state, as it also boasts of India's first planned industrial city.
Dotted with hills and waterfalls, the eastern Indian state of Jharkhand is among the country's most resource-rich regions. The state, which has 14 seats in the lower house of the Indian Parliament, is going to the general elections in 4 phases. The polling dates are May 13, 20th, 25th and June 1st. Known as the land of forest, Jharkhand was carved out of Bihar in 2000 with Ranchi as its capital after a long-standing tribal movement for statehood. The state has over 32 tribes, including the Santals, Mundas and the Gonds. With a geographical area of nearly 80,000 square kilometers, the state's current population is about 40 million. There are over 25 million eligible voters, out of which 12.9 million are male, 12.4 million are female, and nearly 470 individuals belong to the third gender. Blessed with natural resources, Jharkhand accounts for 40% of India's total mineral wealth. It is home to the country's largest coal reserves, third largest copper reserves, and the 7th largest bauxite reserves. Parts of Jharkhand have battled security challenges in the past due to Maoists, but their activities have declined considerably in the recent years. As for the state's current political scenario, it is governed by a coalition led by the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. The alliance also includes Congress and the Rashtriya Janata Dal. Other prominent parties in Jharkhand are the Bharatiya Janata Party and the All India Jharkhand Students Union. During the 2019 general elections in Jharkhand, of the total of 14 seats, the Bharatiya Janata Party won 11, while the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, All India Jharkhand Students Union and the Congress bagged 1 seat each. The election desk for DD India.
Well, our focus on 2 states that we are doing tonight, Jharkhand and Odisha. You know, people must be wondering why we've got these eastern states pretty late into the election discussion. For the simple reason, both these states entered the election fray in the 4th phase and they continue their journey till the 7th phase. This is where Jharkhand is in the eastern part of India. It's carved out of Bihar, and Jharkhand has an interesting story when one takes a look at this elections. It's there across 4 phases. The first phase, phase 4, you had 4 seats, then you have 5 and then 6 seats across the next 3 phases of election. 2014, BJP managed to win 12 seats, reduced by 1 to 11. The Congress managed to open its account with 1 seat in 2019. The All Jharkhand Students Union also opening its account there with 1 seat. JMM 2 seats down to 1 in 2019. That's the election track record when we take a look at the regional parties. Voting percentage, not much of change that we have seen, almost sticking to the national average that we had in 2019 when it comes to the voting average. Assembly elections in Jharkhand throw interesting numbers for us. 2014, BJP from 37 dropped to 25, the Congress from 6 to 16. The JMM took a sharp jump, and that's why the JMM government, along with the support there of the Congress, being able to form a government in Jharkhand, and others, from 19 down to 10 in the assembly elections that followed. Voting percentage very similar to the national trend that we see in Jharkhand, and it continues even in the assembly elections. This particular phase 5 of the elections, you have close to 5 seats from Jharkhand. This is the alliance there in the state, the BJP fighting on 13. There are 14 seats. The Jharkhand Students Union there on 1 seat in this particular state. That's the combination for you. The opposition bloc is pretty interesting. The Congress fighting on 7, the RJD fighting on 1, the JMM, that's a regional force in the state, fighting in 5, and the CPM fighting on 1 seats, combining the 14 put together in the state of Jharkhand. Now, 5 seats in this particular phase of election. Chhatra, an interesting seat here. Remember, the seats in Jharkhand that goes to polls are interesting from a simple perspective that, you could see many close battles, many tribal leaders there out in big force, trying to save their bastion. Kodarma, another interesting battle that you could see between Annapurna Devi and, the CPI ML, the alliance in the opposition, that 1 seat in Kodarma has been given to the left. That's a lone seat that the left gets in Jharkhand. Moving to the other seats in this particular state, Hazaribagh, an interesting seat where stalwarts from BJP have won time and again. This time we've got Manish Jaiswal from the BJP taking on Jai Prakash Bhai Patel from the Congress, and the CPI there also in the political fray in this particular elections in Jharkhand. So that's how Jharkhand has played out this particular elections. There's another state that we are following in this election battle of 2024. That's another eastern state of Odisha. Odisha is an Indian state located in the Bay of Bengal, well known for its diversity in culture and nature. We're talking about Odisha. The capital of Odisha is Bhubaneswar, and it is also home to many Hindu temples and rivers. One of the Char Dham, that's Jagannath temple, is also located in the eastern state of Odisha, and the temple is famous for its annual Rath Yatra, which is witnessed by millions as the 3 colossal chariots carry the deities. The English word Jagannath shares its origin from the annual Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra. The oldest dance form of India, Odisha dance, is also still very much vibrant and surviving in the eastern state. The Kunak Sam temple is one of the best instances of craftsmanship and creativity in Odisha with its breathtaking architecture. Let's quickly take a look into the demographics of the state as India decides in 2024.
Situated in eastern India, the Odisha state is blessed with mineral resources such as coal, limestone, lead and gold. The state accounts for 57% of India's total iron ore production. Spread over an area of over 1.5 lakh square kilometers, Odisha has a 485 kilometer long coastline. Its capital, Bhubaneswar, one of modern India's first planned cities, has emerged as an education hub. Other prominent cities include Puri, which is home to popular Hindu deity Jagannath Mahaprabhu. The city also hosts the famous Rath Yatra, or the chariot festival dedicated to the Lord, which attracts visitors and pilgrims from all over the world. Located near Puri is the 13th century Konark Sun temple and is well known for its architecture. The state also has a rich cultural history that dates back to the 4th century BC. The region was part of the Kalinga Empire, which was invaded by Mauryan Emperor Ashoka. In the 2024 general elections, Odisha, which has 21 seats in the Lok Sabha or the lower house of the Indian Parliament, is going to polls in 4 phases. The state has 33.2 million voters, out of which 16.4 million are men, 15.8 million are women, and over 3,200 belong to the third gender. Odisha is governed by the Biju Janata Dal. Other prominent parties are the Bharatiya Janata Party and the Congress. In the 2019 general elections in Odisha, the BJD won 12 seats, the BJP bagged 8, while the Congress got 1 seat. In Odisha, the 2024 Lok Sabha polls will be held simultaneously with the state legislative assembly elections, making the political battle in the state a riveting one. Anu Kaushik for DD India.
Well, shifting to another eastern state of Odisha, how does Odisha purely throw up numbers in this particular elections? Four phases that we are talking about, 4, 5, 6, 6 is how that particular state will play out. 12 plus 21 seats, 21 Lok Sabha seats in Odisha, the eastern part of India, 5 seats in this particular phase. 4, 5, 6, 6 is how in phase number 4, 5, 6 and 7 that Odisha will vote. Look at the results there in 2014, the BJD, Naveen Patnaik's party there calling the shots, 20 seats in 2014 down to 12. The BJP making great inroads in the state from 1, it's almost a 7 times jump to 8 there in the state. And Congress managing to win or open its account in 2019. Voting percentage very much above the national average. You see healthy numbers when it comes to voting in Odisha, and here too the numbers clearly indicating that it's almost 5% above the national average when it comes to voting from Odisha. Assembly elections, much of a change there. BJD losing a bit of steam, but still holding on to power, and Naveen Patnaik once again continuing his run there. He is the undisputed king when it comes to state politics, and BJD there once again calling the shots, ruling the state yet again in that elections that followed in Odisha. Look at the voting percentage in Odisha, and you will see the trend that's very much seen in the Lok Sabha elections being continuing in the assembly elections, and the 5 seats. Also a quick look at the alliances there in this particular state when it comes to the regional forces taking on the national parties. The BJP going solo in Odisha, all 21 seats, the BJP fighting solo. The opposition there, Congress and the JMM put together, fighting the JMM in that Mayurbhanj seat that the Congress is given to the JMM. So 21 seats there, 20 with the Congress, and BJD, the regional force there going solo, fighting this particular elections, all 21 seats on its own. A quick look at now the 5 seats that go to poll in this particular phase. We're looking at Aska, that comes in the southern part of Odisha, the southern Odisha part, region from where this particular seat comes. The BJP and the Congress here in a good contest, but Ranjita Sahu surely could be somebody who could upset this particular apple cart in this election. Bargra, another seat that comes from in the western Odisha region, there BJD, Parinita Mishra there taking on Sanjay Bhoy and Pradeep Purohit from the BJP. This seat also could see a tight contest, especially between the BJD and the BJP. Bolangir, another seat that comes in the western Odisha region, and BJD Surendra Singh Bhoy taking on Sangeeta Kumari. She is the sitting MP, and we can see a good contest there between the regional force and the BJP on this particular seat. Kandhamal, you got Achunta Samanta there taking on Sukanto from the BJP and Amir Chand Nayak from the Congress. This particular seat in the South Odisha region has been known for many reasons across the world, and this particular seat could also throw interesting numbers, interesting challenges for the people and India in particular. Finally, Sundargarh, you've got former Indian hockey captain Dilip Singh Tirki there in the election fray, taking on Jual Oram, who is the sitting MP and also the member of parliament there, the member of parliament and a union minister there in the present government. So, this particular elections is very keenly poised. Let's quickly take a look at 3 questions that we are looking for answers from these 2 eastern states. Let's get down to business with all our experts in the studios also joining us. How will the eastern states face the electoral battle of 2024? That's the first question that we're looking for answers. Second, what will be the impact of the simultaneous polls, especially in Odisha? Our final question for the evening, how will the 2 states face the summer of 2024? Well, 2 distinguished guests to take us through these deliberations. Praful Ketkar, senior journalist joining us this evening, a political analyst too. and also Ashutosh Mishra, senior journalist, joining us to take these deliberations forward. Let me first come to you, Praful. Looking at these two states, especially the summer, that's now peaking. Is that a big cause of concern in those regions, or do they not at all matter in those states?
See, this eastern part of India sees, very, very high temperatures during summer. But traditionally what we have seen, especially in Odisha, that like Bengal, irrespective of weather, the voting percentage is higher than the national average. Again, a very peculiar pattern in these two states. Though traditionally known to be tribal dominated regions, relatively backward regions, education level or literacy level is also relatively low, industrialization is low, mineral rich states, but both these states have voted differently when it comes to the assembly and Lok Sabha polls. So it shows of the the maturity of Indian electorates, irrespective of their educational background. When it comes to making choices at the assembly level and Lok Sabha level, they are very particular and decisive about their mandates.
Let's also get in Ashutosh Mishra. Your opening thoughts on the two states and the phase that they are in, your 4, 5, 6, 7, where both the states will have a big role to play, as we reach the final crescendo of these elections.
You're absolutely right. Both these states are very important politically. I'll especially mention Odisha, where Lok Sabha and Assembly polls are being held together. And Odisha, the voter turnout has always been very encouraging. Last time also it was very encouraging. And this time, despite heat, I think people will turn out in good numbers. And that is because stakes are high for the major parties, especially the two main contestants. The Biju Janata Dal led by Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik. And since our state, Odisha is witnessing both Lok Sabha and Assembly polls together. For Naveen Patnaik, the stakes are particularly high because if he wins these polls, especially the Assembly polls, he'll be setting a record by becoming Chief Minister for 6 straight terms, which will be a unique record in itself.
True.
And talking of Lok Sabha also, it's very important. Last time the party had 12 seats. And for BJP, it's very important, because BJP made a very big jump in 2019 as far as Lok Sabha is concerned. They had just 1 seat in 2014. But in 2019, Lok Sabha seats jumped from 1 to 8. That was a big jump. And their vote share also increased very, very significantly, though the increase was mainly on account of the fall in Congress votes, because Congress's decline in this state has been very steep.
Okay.
So this time this is the main contest between BJP and BJD. I won't call it a three-cornered contest, because Congress is still very weak in the state.
Okay.
And I don't see any hopes of major recovery on the part of the Congress. So it will be mainly a contest between BJP and BJD. And this time it is going to be a fierce contest. This is very clear right from the beginning, the way Prime Minister has been campaigning. He has already held 4 major rallies in the state. He held a road show in Bhubaneswar. He is going to hold another road show in Puri. And unlike in the past, this time he has also directed attacks direct on the Chief Minister himself. In the past, he avoided attacking the Chief Minister or his party directly. But this time it seems to be a no-holds-barred battle. So it's going to be a very interesting battle. Campaigning has picked up from both sides, and the heat wave was sweeping the state some 2 weeks ago. But campaign continues.
Okay, Mr. Ketkar, looking at Narendra Modi and Naveen Patnaik, why do you see this particular, friendly rivalry that they two shared across from 2019 to 2024? Why has it suddenly taken a very combative turn, in the way both Naveen as well as the Prime Minister, sparing or having no second thoughts when it comes to attacking them personally?
See, there are 2-3 reasons. Odisha is one state, very peculiar state, where BJP, the rise of BJD was on anti-Congressism. Okay, and Congress was in opposition for a long time. But it is very interesting because BJP has gained at the cost of Congress in Odisha. And therefore, Ashutosh ji is absolutely right that how much dent that Congress gets this time, because Congress still has 7 to 8% vote share. So, depending on that, BJP's fortunes, whether BJP will be able to touch that 2-digit mark in the fight against BJD. Two, first time in Odisha, and Ashutosh ji can correct me if I am wrong, first time ever, Amar Navin is the very popular, kind of expression there. Our Navin. So that kind of monome they share with the chief minister. But first time ever, his health has been a talking point in the elections, and bureaucrats running the government.
True.
So this is second important point. Third important point is first time ever BJP state unit took a firm stand
Going solo.
Against this alliance going. Otherwise, it would have been a clear sweep. But BJP said we don't want to make the similar mistake we did after 1998, and we don't want to give space now to BJD. We want to fight it, and that's why BJP is trying to carve out the maximum share. BJP is certainly going to do that in Lok Sabha elections. How far BJP is able to do that in assembly elections, that would be very interesting, because remember, Amar Navin is still an important factor.
Ashutosh, looking at, Naveen looking for a 6th term there from Odisha, also the sympathy factor that comes into play with Naveen, and Mr. Pandyan there, VK Pandyan making a pitch that this could be Naveen's last elections. In that contest, will the voters be, somewhere in a catch-22 situation when it comes to the state, when it comes to the assembly and Lok Sabha polls that come together?
See, one thing is very clear, last time what we saw in Orissa was what we call it split voting, or intelligent voting on the part of the electorate. They were very clear that they wanted Naveen Patnaik to continue his rule in the state, and they voted for him decisively in the assembly elections. But in certain regions of the state, especially in western Orissa, which is supposed to be the stronghold of BJP, there BJP won all the 5 seats, and in all it won 8 seats, which was a jump of 7 seats compared to 2014. And it was mainly on account of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's image, and there was an urge among a certain section of the electorate, a particular section of the electorate. They wanted to see him as the Prime Minister again, but they were very clear that they wanted Naveen Patnaik as the Chief Minister. And this election is very peculiar in the sense, when it started, there was an attempt by both sides, BJP and BJD, they ruled the state from 2000 to 2009 for nearly 9 years in tandem. There was a coalition government, and they had but in 2009, just before 2009 elections, that alliance collapsed. And it collapsed. Everybody says that it collapsed because there could be no seat adjustments. They did not agree on seats. But there were many other factors. One very important factor was that this election followed in the wake of major riots, communal riots in Kandhamal, which happened following the killing of VHP leader Swami Lakshmananand Saraswati. So there is a perception among intellectuals, a certain section of intellectuals, that Naveen had begun to consider that BJP had become a liability for him and he wanted to get rid of it. But it is strange that on the eve of these elections, there was an attempt for a patch-up. There was an attempt for revival of that alliance, but it could not be revived because of many reasons. One important reason was that they could not agree on the number of seats and on the particular seats that both sides wanted to contest. And that is why, since the alliance could not come through, that is why this contest has become all the more fierce. And like Mr. Ketkar said, he is absolutely right, that there is a sympathy factor which favors Naveen in the sense that this could be his last election. And yes, Amar Naveen, that is the slogan. It's true.
Let's now shift to Jharkhand. Praful, your thoughts especially on Jharkhand, looking at the former chief minister in the jail. You've got Champai Soren who's running the elections, and talk on the ground is that post June 4th you could again see a change in the chief minister.
we really don't know whether it's Champai Soren or Kalpana Soren who is running the
That's why I
campaign for
said most don't know.
JMM. So, Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, Jharkhand is a very strange state, and I am saying this from the national point of view because, in Delhi, still there is a perception that BJP is supposed to be the, disconnected with tribals or not, very pro-tribal party kind of thing. But the fact is, since its inception, BJP has performed well in this tribal dominated state, and the way BJP has performed in last 2 elections, especially 2019 elections, it is really remarkable, especially the seat that you discussed today, Kodarma. Annapurna Devi, that time Babulal Marandi was a joint candidate. Babulal Marandi had rebelled against BJP.
True.
And he had formed Jharkhand Vikas Party. He could secure only 25% vote despite support from Congress and JMM. And Annapurna Devi secured 62% vote share. That is a massive victory, similar to Hazaribagh. Since 1998
True.
when Yashwant Sinha contested from there, it has been BJP's. So, despite being a tribal state, Jharkhand has voted when it comes to the national elections decisively in favor of BJP. That is a very remarkable thing.
Okay, Mr. Mishra, final word on Jharkhand. How do you look at Jharkhand elections that play out? Looking at the former chief minister in jail, how things have been. Champai Soren managed to win a trust vote here in...
Absolutely. Really interesting, like Mr. Ketkar said. So it's a strange state, and the battle in Jharkhand is going to be decisive this time, for both the sides.
Okay.
And India bloc, I think they have lots of hopes in that state.
Okay.
And the BJP as well. And since there were a number of allegations against the former chief minister, but now his wife, she is campaigning for him. She is the face of the campaign. So let's see how it pans out.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Appreciate both of you joining us this evening on the show. But remember, the Great Indian Elections journey continues. I appreciate both of you, Praful Ketkar and Mr. Mishra, for joining us this evening, taking these deliberations forward, helping us understand those 2 eastern states of India. Remember, the Great Indian Election is your one-stop show on weekdays on all that matters in the Indian elections of 2024. What could be the state, or rather, what could be some of the interesting points that we're looking to discuss on Wednesday night? A sneak peek. Voting concludes in the western state of Maharashtra with Mumbai and Thane. 2 factions of Shiv Sena and NCP take on the might of the national parties BJP and the Congress. How will the financial capital of India vote? Will the split in 2022 have a bearing on the parliamentary elections? Watch Why Maharashtra Matters on the Great Indian Election at 8:30 p.m. IST, only on DD India. Well, with that, it's a wrap of this edition of the Great Indian Election. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and also Instagram. Good night. Stay safe. Take care.